All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Star, I'd like to go back to the point where we were in Miami at the Turnberry. Okay.
Okay.
And ask you a few more questions about some things that happened that evening. Okay.
Okay.
Now, at any time that evening, did you see your mother leave Mr. Jackson's rooms?
Yes.
Do you remember about what time that was?
It was probably nighttime.
And do you know where she went?
She went back to the room.
And when your mother left, did you see something happen?
I don't know who it was, but they sent someone to go get my mom.
Did you see that?
No.
No, I meant, did you see them send somebody?
Yes.
And then did you see your mom come back?
Yes.
And was she alone or with somebody?
She was with someone.
The same person who left?
Yes.
When you were in Miami, did you personally ever participate in a press conference?
No.
To your knowledge, did your brother ever participate in a press conference?
No.
Actually, I think we all liked it the better way where you could be heard. Could you lean a little closer?
Okay.
That's perfect. You'll save everybody a lot of problems if you just speak like that. On the time that you're in Miami at the Turnberry, did you ever drink any alcohol on that time?
No.
Do you remember the day that you left Miami?
No.
I mean, do you remember anything that happened that day? Do you remember getting on the plane?
Yeah.
All right. What time was it when you got to the plane? Was it daylight or dark, or what?
It was turning into night.
And that particular day, during that day, do you remember anything that happened?
That day. I think that was the day that Michael gave my brother a watch.
Do you remember anything else that happened that day besides that?
Going home.
Did you see Chris Tucker that day?
Yes.
Where did you see him?
Michael's room.
On the day you left?
Oh, the day we left. No, Chris took me, my brother, to the resort massage area, or where, I don't know what it's called.
Okay, when he took you there, what happened?
We got massages.
Did you ever have a massage before?
No.
Pardon?
No.
How did you get from the hotel to the airport?
By a shuttle.
And who was with you?
Michael, me and my brother, my sister, my mom, Grace, Prince in Paris, Marie Nicole, Aldo. Everyone that was there. And a guy named Dr. Farshian, I think. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Now, did you get on the plane?
Yes.
Did all of those folks get on the plane?
Yes.
Now, I want to go back in point of time to ask you one other question about Miami, before we start talking about the plane trip. Okay.
Okay.
You told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that at some point on one evening, you saw your brother acting kind of weird and saying some things that didn't make sense.
Yes.
Did you notice anything about your brother the next morning?
Objection. Vague.
Sustained.
Were you in the room the next morning when you woke up, was your brother in the room?
I think so.
Did your brother have any problems the next morning?
He didn't feel good. He had a headache.
Anything else?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
He had a headache. He felt like he was going to throw up. Just didn't feel good.
All right, Your Honor, at this point, if we could use the lights again, I'm going to show the witness some photographs. Counsel. Off-the-record discussion held at counsel table. All right, I'm going to show you some photographs. I'm going to lay them in front of you. They're all in evidence, and I'm going to go through them one by one with you. All right, do you recognize the photograph that's marked as People's Number 17 in evidence?
Yes.
Who is that?
It's Dieter.
And where was it that you met Dieter for the first time?
In Miami.
And where in Miami?
In Michael's room.
All right, and put that one down. Pick up the next one, People's 18 in evidence. Do you recognize that person?
Yes.
Who is that?
Ronald.
And where did you meet Ronald for the first time?
Michael's room.
And where in Michael's were you in Miami?
Yes.
All right, put that one down. The next photograph, which is People's 21, who is that?
That's Aldo.
Where was it the first time you met the person you know as Aldo?
In Miami.
Does Aldo have a nickname?
Yes, it's Baby Rubba.
Okay. Where did you meet him in Miami?
In Michael's bedroom.
Alright. 22. People's 22 in evidence. Who's that?
Marie Nicole.
And where did you meet her for the first time?
In Michael's room.
Would that have been in Miami also?
Yes.
Alright. Put that one down. The next one is People's 43. Do you recognize the person in that photograph?
Yes.
Who is that?
It's Grace, Prince and Paris's nanny.
Okay. You can put that one down. And the next one is People's 14. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Who's that?
That's Dustin, Chris Tucker, Asja, my sister, me and my brother.
Okay. Why don't you use that little light and just show us which one is Dustin? That's the little child, correct?
Yes.
Alright. Now, I have an exhibit that I've had marked as People's 341 for identification purposes at this point. I'm going to show it to you and ask you to look at it. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's the airplane.
What airplane?
That we flew back from Miami.
Does that appear to be the interior of that airplane?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move that 341 come into evidence. We used it. Your Honor, I might indicate to the court, we used it to illustrate the various locations of the individuals as they were seated on the plane to this witness's knowledge.
All right, it's admitted.
All right. Star, would you put that down in front of you, please, and take those other photographs and stick them up on top for me? Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to hand you this, and I'm going to give you this pen. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to give you this pen. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'm going to use the Elmo.
All right.
You need to push Elmo on the little.
All right, Star. Turning around and looking at the exhibit that's on the board. Okay. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's just like the one in front of you, correct?
Yes.
All right. Would you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where the defendant, Michael Jackson, was sitting on the plane? Okay. Now, would you please, on your exhibit in front of you, the one that's in front of you, put an MJ. Now, where was your brother on the plane? Okay. You're indicating the bottom of the diagram in the seat next to Mr. Jackson, correct?
Yes.
All right. Would you put a G at that location?
It's not working.
The pen's not working.
No.
That's all the county can afford, though. Try that one. Is that working?
Yes.
And that's red instead of blue.
Yes.
All right. Stick with that. Where were you sitting on the plane?
Right here.
All right. Would you put an S in there for, and by, here, you mean to the far right side of the diagram in the white seat across from the blue couch?
Yes.
And where was Aldo and Marie Nicole sitting, to your knowledge?
Aldo was sitting right here. And Marie Nicole was sitting right here.
On each side of the area that's in blue, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you put A for where Aldo is seated? And just put an MN for Marie Nicole on the exhibit 341. Now, where's your mother, do you recall?
She was sitting right there.
So it's on the lower half of the diagram. It's the seat up toward the left side, correct?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you put a ya in there? And then you mentioned a person by the name, a doctor.
Yes.
Dr. what?
Dr. Farshian.
Where was he seated?
Right there.
Why don't you just put a doctor in there? And that's the seat right across from where your mother was, is that right?
Yes.
Now, who else was on the plane?
Prince, Paris, my sister, a lady named Patty, and Grace.
Where was Patty? All right. Why don't you just put a P in there? And then the lady you've identified as Grace, the nanny, where was she? Okay. Why don't you put a GR in there? And by that, you're referring to the top part of the plane, correct?
Yes.
Now, where was your sister Davellin?
She was right there.
Okay. Why don't you put a DA there?
The pen is starting to run out. Wait. There it goes. Never mind.
It's just the surface. The surface. All right. Did it work?
Yeah, it's working now.
And next to Davellin was who?
Paris.
Who?
Paris.
Alright, just put a PA in there, if you would. Now, during the time that you were on the plane, after you left Miami, did you ever get up and move to any other location on the plane?
Yes.
Where did you move to? Alright, you're indicating in the blue area.
Yes.
And the seat the farthest to the left of the blue area.
Yes.
And who was in that seat when you took off?
Aldo.
Alright, so would you please put S1 in there?
The pen's not working anymore.
Just try it. I think it's the surface, not the pen.
Okay.
Did it work?
No, but.
Here, Mr. Sneddon.
Alright, let's try this one.
It's working.
Thank you.
Aha.
Alright, now, was there a telephone on the plane?
Yes.
Where? Alright, on your exhibit, put a TF.
TF.
TF, where the telephone was. Now, at any time when you were on the plane, did you see your brother and Mr. Jackson drinking anything?
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw Michael with a Diet Coke can, and my brother with a Sprite can.
With a, what kind?
I don't know exactly what brand it is, but it was a soda can.
Now, were you ever offered to drink out of either one of those cans?
Yes.
By whom?
By Michael.
And what did he say to you?
He leaned over and he handed it to me. I thought it was Diet Coke, so I didn't want to be rude, so I took a drink, and it tasted like the smell of, rubbing alcohol. It tasted really, so I handed it back to him. And I asked him what it was, and then he said it was wine.
Did you drink any more out of that can during this trip?
No.
Tell me what you saw your brother and Mr. Jackson doing during the trip.
I saw my brother, after a while he didn't feel too good. So my brother leaned over on Michael's chest and I saw Michael's head licking my brother's, the top of his head.
What do you mean?
He was just licking his head.
How long did that last?
I don't know. 6 seconds probably.
Did you notice any change in the behavior of Mr. Jackson during the flight?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Really weird.
What do you mean, really weird?
Just didn't make sense.
Who?
Michael. And my brother.
That telephone that's on the plane, did you ever see the telephone used during the trip?
Yes.
By whom?
By Michael.
And what did you see happen? Or did you hear anything, also?
He made a crank call.
I'm sorry.
He made a crank call.
What do you mean, a crank call?
He called someone and he.
You have to lean into the phone there, lean into the microphone, if you would. What is a crank call, to you?
To me.
What does it mean?
Oh, just when you call someone and hang up on them.
Alright.
That's what it means to me. But what I saw Michael doing was he called up and he said he was having a consensus, and he wanted to know how big her PUSSY was. And that's what he said to her.
How many such calls did you hear him make?
2, on the plane.
Did your brother make any calls?
I don't remember. He probably did.
Did you make any calls?
No.
Now, you mentioned something about a watch. When was the first time that you saw your brother Gavin with a watch?
It was at the end of the flight, and I saw it on his wrist.
Now, did your brother ordinarily have a watch?
No, he never wears a watch.
The first time you saw it was when you got off the plane.
Yes.
Did you see it at all on the plane?
No.
Where were you when you saw the watch for the first time?
We were leaving. We were getting off the plane.
Now, did you see Mr. Jackson at any point in time wearing a jacket?
Oh, yeah, that was at the Miami. When he first opened the door, he had a black jacket with a bunch of shiny stuff on his back.
When your brother got off the plane?
He had that on also.
Now, when the plane landed, can you tell us? Your Honor, I think we can put the lights back on, if the court would like, and we can take this item off. Okay, Star.
Yes.
We don't need. Let me grab the diagrams. Oh, would you write your name on the bottom of that diagram, please? The diagram, meaning 341.
I'll have to carve it in, because it doesn't appear. There you go.
Alright. When you got back, excuse me. When the plane landed, did you know where you were?
We were at a private airport in Santa Barbara.
And when you got off the plane, where did you go? I mean, physically, where did you go?
We were heading for the ranch.
And how did you get to the ranch?
By a stretch white excursion limousine.
Do you remember about how long it took to get from the airport to the ranch?
30 minutes.
And when you got to the ranch, was it daytime or nighttime?
Nighttime.
And when you got to the ranch, what did you do?
We all went to sleep. And me, Aldo, my brother, we went to Michael's room and…
You're going to have to lean into the microphone. I can't even hear you.
Me, Aldo, my brother, we all went to bed. We all went to sleep in Michael's bed.
Where was the defendant, Mr. Jackson?
There also.
Where did he sleep?
In the bed with us.
Now, did you see, when you got to the ranch, did you see where your mother went?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Did you see where your sister went?
No.
Now, I want to jump forward just a moment, Star. Are you familiar with a person by the name of Jesus?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, who was Jesus?
He was part of security.
And where did you meet Jesus?
At the ranch.
And when was the first time you met Jesus?
After the Miami trip.
And at some point in time after you got back from Miami and you were on the ranch, did you leave the ranch with Jesus?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I think we went to our grandmother's house.
Do you remember who drove you?
Jesus.
Do you remember what car you went in?
It was a Rolls-Royce or something like that. It was.
A fancy car.
Yes.
Now, here's what I want to do. I want to ask you some questions, Star.
Okay.
About what happened when you got back on the ranch from Miami, or you got on the ranch from Miami, to the time you left the ranch with Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
Between that time period.
Okay.
During the time that you were there, from the time that you went to the ranch from Miami and the time that you left with Jesus, was the defendant, Michael Jackson, on the ranch?
Yes.
During that time that you were on the ranch, can you tell us where you spent the nights during that period of time?
Michael's bedroom.
With whom?
With Michael, my brother, Aldo.
And where did you sleep?
On the bed.
Where did your brother sleep?
On the bed.
Where did the defendant sleep?
On the bed.
And where did Aldo sleep?
On the bed.
Do you remember who slept next to who?
Depends on your point of view.
Depends on the point of view.
Yeah.
Okay. Who slept next to you?
Aldo.
And who slept next to Aldo?
My brother.
And who slept next to your brother?
Michael.
Now, between the time that you got to the ranch from Miami and the time that you left with Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
Did you drink any alcohol?
Yes.
Do you remember on how many occasions?
I think so.
Pardon?
It was a lot of times.
And with whom did you drink?
Only with Michael.
I'm sorry.
Only with Michael.
Was there anybody else present when you and when the defendant were drinking alcohol?
Me, my brother, and Aldo.
And where did you drink alcohol with Mr. Jackson during that time?
Bedroom, his office, and the wine cellar.
Can you describe where the wine cellar is?
It's in the arcade downstairs, and the jukebox thing covers the stairs.
What did you drink when you drank with the defendant?
Red or white wine.
How many times do you think you were in Mr. Jackson's office and drank with him?
A couple times.
And how many times do you think you drank with him in his bedroom?
A lot of times.
And the cellar?
Probably twice.
Do you remember what Mr. Jackson drank during these occasions?
Wine, with us. It was either red or white.
Did Mr. Jackson have a term that he referred to in connection with the wine?
He called it Jesus juice.
Would you describe to us? Now, I want to make sure we're just talking about the time when you got there from Miami till the time that you left with Jesus. Okay.
Yes.
Alright. Did you at any time, during that period of time when you were drinking with the defendant, Mr. Jackson, see him get intoxicated?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't remember, but it was probably a couple times.
During the time that you stayed at the ranch, did you learn where the location of the alcohol was on the ranch?
Yes.
Where?
It was in the wine cellar. And it was just in the wine cellar.
I'm sorry.
It was just in the wine cellar. And there's some type of alcohol in a refrigerated area.
And where is this refrigerated area located?
Right when you walk in through the back of the house, of the main house, there's, refrigerators and glass doors. And it's, back there.
And did you actually see the alcohol in that area?
No, but I know there was some there.
The wine cellar. How do you get into the wine cellar?
You need a key and you need to go through a door.
And did you know where the key was?
Not really. It was in the lounge. And I know where it was. Whoever opened the wine cellar, it was Jesus or someone else.
Were you ever in the wine cellar without the defendant?
No.
Now, you told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that when you were on the plane, you overheard Mr. Jackson make some crank calls, correct?
Yes.
Were you ever present where any crank calls were made from the ranch?
Yes.
And where was that? Where did that occur?
Upstairs in his bedroom.
And who was present?
Me, Aldo, my brother, and Michael.
The defendant?
Yes.
Tell us what went on.
Started making crank calls.
Who?
Michael, Aldo, me and my brother.
And tell us, when you made the crank calls, how did you pick the number?
Just dialed any number.
And when people picked up the phone, what was said?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what was said.
Did you ever make any of these calls?
I think so, yes.
What happened if nobody picked up on the other end of the line?
Michael would have us take a drink of wine.
Who would?
If the phone number didn't exist, we'd have to drink a drink of wine, or he'd have us drink wine.
Did you see alcohol in Mr. Jackson's bedroom?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
Many occasions. Many occasions.
Where was it, usually?
Probably on the floor, or around the dresser somewhere.
Do you remember how many particular occasions that the four of you did these crank calls? Was it on more than one night?
Yes.
How many nights?
Many nights.
I'm sorry.
Many nights.
Can you give me an estimate?
7. I don't know exactly.
Were all of these occasions when you placed the crank calls before you left with Jesus?
Yes.
Did you, during the time that you got to Neverland Ranch and the time that you left with Jesus, did you see your mother at all?
No.
Did you see her out around the grounds at all?
No.
Did you visit her at all?
A couple times.
Where did you visit her?
In her guest room, guest unit.
Now, from the time that you arrived at the ranch from Miami till the time you left with Jesus. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I showed you a photograph of a person that you've identified as the person you knew as Dieter.
Yes.
Did you ever see Dieter at the ranch?
Yes.
And the person who you identified as Ronald. Did you ever see Ronald at the ranch?
Yes.
And the person you identified as Tyson, Frank Tyson, did you ever see him at the ranch?
Yes.
Now, during the time that you were at the ranch, when you got there until the time you two left with Jesus, did you go to school?
No.
Did you do any homework?
No.
What did you do?
Nothing. Nothing.
What time did you ordinarily go to bed?
2 o'clock in the morning, and 3 o'clock. It was really late at night.
Did you see, while you were at the ranch, between the time you arrived there from Miami till the time that you left with Jesus, did you see the defendant, Mr. Jackson, with either Dieter or Ronald?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
Probably saw him about 3 occasions.
And were both Dieter and Ronald with Mr. Jackson, or was it just one of them?
I think it was both of them.
Do you recall where you saw them?
In his bedroom, in a guest unit, and in his office.
Now, did you ever have any, during the same time frame? Okay. Did you have any contact with Dieter?
No, I don't think so.
Did the subject matter of your brother's watch ever come up during this time?
Yes.
Tell the jury what happened in that regard.
He pulled us into a guest unit.
Who's he?
Dieter.
Okay.
And he said that he wanted to take the
Objection. Hearsay.
Your Honor, it's offered as, under 2:1223.
All right, I'll admit it conditionally, as I have other hearsay statements.
Go ahead.
Okay, so he said that he wanted to take back the watch and put it in a safe, so when he turns 18 he could take it out.
And were you present? What did your brother say?
He said, no.
Were you able to see the relationship between your mother and Dieter and Ronald?
What do you mean?
Did you see any interaction between them, between your mother and Dieter and Ronald?
I don't think so.
Did you, during this period of time, from the time you arrived from Miami until the time that you left with Jesus, did the subject matter of you participating in a video interview come up?
They wanted us to only say good things about Michael.
Who's that?
Dieter was telling me and my mom, my brother, my sister and me, they only wanted us to say good things about Michael.
Did you ever see anything written down?
Yes.
Where? Where were you when you saw that?
I was in the guest unit.
And who was present?
Dieter, me and my mom and my brother, my sister.
Now, do you remember leaving with Jesus?
Yes.
All right. And tell the jury what time you left and under what circumstances.
It was really late at night. And it was spontaneous. He pulled around the car and we left.
Now, where were all your clothes prior to leaving?
In the room.
What room?
Guest unit.
Your clothes were in the guest unit.
Yes.
So you gathered up your belongings, you got in the car and you left. Where did you go?
To my grandma's house.
Now, at the time that you were at the ranch before you left with Jesus, did you personally, not what somebody else said, but did you personally hear anybody threaten anyone?
When I was trying to head to my mom's guest unit, Frank approached me, and he was, I don't remember what I was trying to do, but I was trying to go to my mom's guest unit, and Frank was telling me that he has ways that my grand.
Objection. Hearsay.
Same offer, Your Honor.
All right, this is conditionally admitted under the previous instruction.
Go ahead. You can tell us, please.
He was saying that he has ways that my grandparents could disappear.
And that was told to you personally?
Yes.
Did you tell that to anybody else?
No.
Now, did you ever go back to the ranch after that?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about some events that occurred from the time that you left the ranch with Jesus till the time you went back.
Okay.
Okay. Where did you spend that time?
At my grandma's house.
Were you ever over at Jay Jackson's house?
I don't remember.
Do you remember an occasion where a private investigator came to Mr. Jackson's house and there was an interview with you and the family?
Yes.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The answer was, yes. Next question.
Can you tell us when you believe that to have occurred?
Oh, it was probably a couple days after we came back from the ranch the first time.
And were you present during that conversation?
Yes.
And did you participate in that conversation?
Yes.
Now, you said, I believe you just said you went back to the ranch.
No, when we came back from the ranch.
When you came back from the ranch. Did you ever go back to the ranch?
Yes.
Do you remember who you were with when you went back to the ranch?
No, I don't remember.
You went back by yourself?
No, I went back with my brother, my sister and, I don't know. I think it was.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to lean into the mic.
I think it was my brother, my sister, me and my mom.
Do you remember what time it was when you got back to the ranch?
I don't remember.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
I don't remember.
Did anything unusual happen when you got back to the ranch?
I don't remember.
The people you've identified as Dieter and Ronald?
Yes.
Do you remember whether or not they were at the ranch when you got back?
Yes, they were there.
When you got back to the ranch, where did you go that night? Where did you sleep that night?
Michael's room.
Alright. And who else was there?
My brother, Michael. Aldo.
Pardon.
Aldo.
Now, you left the ranch again, correct? Do you remember the next time you left the ranch?
Yes.
What was the reason you left?
To do a rebuttal.
And who did you leave with?
Hamid.
And do you know where you went?
We went to his house.
By his house, you mean who?
Hamid's house.
And who else was with you in the car besides you and Hamid?
My brother and my sister.
When you got to Hamid's house, what did you do?
Me and my brother, we sat down, we started playing video games.
Was there anybody else there at the time that you arrived besides you and your brother and your sister and Hamid?
No.
Did anybody else arrive after that?
Yes.
Who arrived after that?
Vinny, my mom, other people.
Do you remember the names of any of those people?
No.
Do you remember how many there were?
A lot.
Now, you said you and your brother were playing video games. What room were you in?
The living room.
And do you recall the filming, the actual filming that occurred later? Was it in that room or a different room?
It was in that room.
And when your mother arrived, where was your mother? Was she in that room or another room?
She was in another room.
With you?
What do you mean? Like?
I couldn't hear you.
At what time?
When she first got there, where was she?
She was where the pool table was.
Is that in the living room or another room?
That's another room.
And so she was in there. How long was she in there?
I don't know.
You weren't in there, right?
No.
Now, before you left the ranch with Hamid to go to his house, okay. Could you tell me whether or not Dieter or Ronald were there?
They were there.
Can you tell me whether or not you had any meeting with, or conversation with them?
Yes, we had a conversation with them.
And let's talk about Dieter. Who was doing the talking?
Dieter.
What did he say?
He was telling me just to say only good things about Michael.
Who else was present during that conversation?
My brother, my sister, my mom.
Okay. You're at Hamid's house and you're about ready for the filming. Do you remember what time it was when you got to Hamid's?
1 o'clock in the morning, when we first got there.
And do you remember the filming?
Yes.
Were you in the whole film?
I think so.
Now, the things that you said on the film, the rebuttal film, okay.
Okay.
You have to indicate, yes or no.
Oh, yes.
There's a statement in there that the defendant, Mr. Jackson, helped you do your homework. Was that true?
No.
And there's a statement in there that you always had his telephone number so you could get a hold of him. Is that true?
No.
How did you feel about Mr. Jackson at the time you participated in this rebuttal film?
I don't remember. Probably at that point I thought he was an okay guy.
Now, after the film, do you remember about what time it was when you left?
3 o'clock in the morning.
Where did you go?
To Major Jackson's house. J. Jackson's.
Who took you there?
Vinny.
And who was with you when you went there?
Me, my brother, my sister and my mom.
Do you remember meeting some ladies from the social workers?
Yes.
And when did that happen?
The next morning.
And where did it happen?
At the apartment.
At whose apartment?
Jay's apartment.
And do you remember about what time it was when that happened?
Probably 10 a.m.
And who, that morning, were there other people there besides the social workers?
My mom.
Who else?
My brother, my sister and me.
Anybody else?
Well, in the beginning of the morning, there was bodyguard sent by Michael or something. And he had a tape recorder. And Asja was there also.
And Asia is Chris Tucker's fiancée.
Yes.
At the time?
Yes.
Had you ever met this bodyguard before?
No.
Do you remember what his name was at all?
No.
Would you describe him for us, please?
Big.
You say he had a tape recorder. How do you know that?
He had it in I believe it was his left hand.
Did you ever see him talk to your mother?
He said that someone wanted her to have this, or something.
Were you present when that occurred?
Yes.
You heard him say that?
Yes.
Did you hear what your mother said?
No, I don't remember what my mom said. But the three ladies said that she can't have that, and they both need to wait downstairs.
They both had to wait downstairs. Who are they?
Asja and the guy.
Did they leave the room?
Yes.
At some point?
Yes.
Did you ever see the tape recorder after that?
No, I never saw him after that.
And then you had an interview with the ladies from the three social workers.
Yes.
Now, when you had the interview with the social workers, was everybody in the same room or did they take people separately?
Everyone was in the same room.
And do you remember any conversations with the social workers about what you said to them?
Not really. I don't remember what I exactly said.
Do you remember the topics that were covered by the questions?
I think everyone was wondering whether. No, I don't remember.
Well, take your time.
I don't remember.
Was everything you told them the truth?
No, not exactly.
What do you mean, not exactly?
Like, I don't know. Just, like, he never really helped us with our homework. Can't think of another example.
During the entire time that you were at Neverland Ranch. From the time you got there from Miami till the time you left for the very last time. Okay. From that time period, did you ever see your mother in Michael Jackson's bedroom?
No, she never left her guest unit.
So how did she eat?
I don't know. There's a couple times I brought her some food I made her, but...
Did you ever tell your mom the code to get into Michael Jackson's bedroom?
No, she never asked.
To your knowledge, did you ever see your sister Davellin sleep in that main residence house?
No.
To your knowledge, did your sister Davellin ever have a friend of hers that went to school with her up at the ranch during this period of time?
Never.
Now, during the time that you knew Mr. Jackson, did he used to call you, Star?
No.
What did he call you?
Blowhole.
Blowhole.
Yes.
And when he talked to Gavin, did he call Gavin, Gavin?
Yes, he called him, Applehead, or, Doo-Doo.
And did you have a name that you called the defendant?
No.
Did you ever, anybody refer to him as, Michael, or, Michael Daddy, or, Daddy?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
My brother called him, Daddy.
Did you hear him do that on more than one occasion?
Yes.
How many?
I know it was more than twice.
Now, after you had the interview with the social workers. Okay.
Okay.
Where did you go?
Me brother, my sister went with Asja back to the ranch.
And your mother?
I think she stood behind.
Okay. Now, I would like to show you a few more photographs at this point, if we could. Alright, I'm going to start with a couple of photographs that are already in evidence. And I'm going to show you a photograph marked as People's Number 30. And tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who that is.
That's Jesus.
And, let me just leave these here, and I'll go get them and ask you some questions. Can we switch to the PC, Your Honor? Thank you. Alright, so that's the person that took you to your grandparents' place.
Yes.
Now, let's look at the next one, number 29. Who is that?
That's Hamid.
Do you remember where it was that you met Hamid for the very first time?
Can't remember.
Alright, why don't you turn that over, then? And the next one is 193. Is that the number on it?
It's 194.
194. Alright, what is that?
That's not the picture I'm looking at.
I'm sorry.
194.
What about it?
That's not the picture.
What's the number?
That one, that's it.
That's 194.
Okay.
Okay, what is that?
This is Hamid's living room and this is where we did the videotaping.
Alright, you were in here playing video games.
Yes.
Where?
Right there. Right there.
Were you playing it on the TV?
Yes.
So the TV that's located on the far left-hand corner of that exhibit, correct?
Yes.
194. Now, where is the area where the filming was done?
All in this area.
You're indicating where the glass doors are and the farthest of the two rugs.
Yes.
Now, is, all right. Let's go to the last photograph. Before, it's already on the board. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What number is that?
193.
And 193, is that an accurate depiction of the pool table room?
Yes.
Your Honor, 193 is not in evidence. Ask that it be admitted.
No objection.
It's admitted.
And where is the, can you see in that photograph the room where the video took place?
Yes.
And, that photograph, being 193.
Yes.
Would you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? So it's through the opening there where the rug is shown on the far left-hand side, correct?
Yes.
All right. Counsel. I just have a few more. Off-the-record discussion held at counsel table. Your Honor, could we black out the screen for just a moment? Thank you. Off-the-record discussion held at counsel table. I'm going to hand you those. All right. Would you please pull up the photograph up there that has the number 125 on it? Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Tell me what it is.
That's the hotel that we stood at while we were getting our passports and visas.
Judge, could we go to input 1? Thank you. And who were you there with?
Frank, Vinny, and a guy named Johnny. And my mom, my brother and my sister.
And who was in the room with you?
My mom, my brother and my sister.
And the guy Johnny, where was he?
He was in the lobby.
Do you know approximately how long you stayed at this place, the Country Inn and Suites?
4 days, something like that.
All right. Let's see the next photograph, which should be
135.
135. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
That's the hotel's kitchen. Well, that's the room that we stood in. And that's the kitchen.
Okay. And then the next photograph, which is number 19, that's in evidence. Do you recognize the person in that photograph?
That's Vinny.
Do you remember where it was that you met Vinny for the first time?
It was at the taping at Hamid's house.
All right. I think we can go back to the regular lights, Your Honor. Now, you've told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that you were at the Calabasas Inn for a number of days.
Yes.
What did you do there? Tell me some of the things you did.
We got our passports and visas.
Did you say we? Who's we?
My brother, my sister and my mom.
Did you do that? Were you alone when you did that or did somebody go with you?
Frank and Vinny were with us.
Do you remember where you went to get the passports?
I don't remember where the building was. But I remember where we got a pass, our pictures.
Where did you get your pictures taken?
At a Walgreens.
Did you go to get a visa?
Yes.
And who went with you?
Frank and Vinny.
And anybody else?
My mom, my brother and my sister and me.
While you were at the Calabasas Inn there, did you go shopping?
Yes.
Where did you go shopping?
We went to some outlets. We shopped at a Levi's store, Club Banana store, and we shopped for luggage.
Did you know why you were shopping?
Because we were going to go to Brazil.
And who told you were going to go to Brazil?
I think it was Frank. Because he wanted us to. He wanted it to be educational or something.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he was telling us.
Did Frank say anything to you whether or not the defendant, Michael Jackson, was going to go to Brazil with you?
He said about 4 weeks after we were there, then Michael was going to come.
So it was going to be a long trip?
Yeah.
Do you remember anything else about the time that you stayed in Calabasas? Did you ever go to the swimming pool?
No.
Why?
We never had time to. Well, we never went to the swimming pool.
Did you, during the time you were there, do you know where Frank and Vinny were staying?
Yes.
Where?
Down the hall from us.
How do you know that?
Because we saw them.
Tell us how that happened.
When he set us up in our room, we saw him walk back to his room.
Did you ever see them on any other occasions when they were in their room, or when you walked past their room?
What? I don't know.
Okay. So when you came back, so after you were at Calabasas, where did you go after all that was done, the things you've described?
We went back to the ranch.
And who took you back to the ranch?
Frank.
Now, at any time while you were at the ranch, after you got back from this trip where you were at, not trip, but stay at Calabasas, okay. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Did the subject of monitoring telephones ever come up?
Monitoring telephones.
Telephone calls. Yeah.
There's a way that we could listen in to people's calls.
How did you know that?
Michael showed us.
When did he show you that?
I think it was after the Calabasas that we stood at.
Were you present when he did that?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
You just push, speaker, and mute. I don't know, he showed us one day. And we were listening to the guard's conversation.
With who?
I think he was talking to another guard, or somebody. He was talking to somebody. But I don't remember.
How many occasions did you see that happen, with Mr. Jackson?
2 occasions.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? Off-the-record discussion held at counsel table. All right. Now, tell us, where were these phones located in Mr. Jackson's room?
The master phone.
The one that you've told us about.
Oh, it's located near the piano. On the dresser near the piano.
Now, you told us earlier that there was a phone. The time when you made crank calls.
Yes.
Where was that phone?
The phone upstairs.
Upstairs where?
In his bedroom.
So these are different phones.
Yes.
Now, how did it work that you could overhear somebody's conversation?
You push the speaker button, you push mute, and then you pushed on the green light.
How did you learn that?
From Michael.
Which of the 2 phones was it that you could monitor conversations on?
The one downstairs.
All right. Now, are you familiar with a movie called The Devil's Backbone?
Yes.
All right. Where was it the first time you saw that movie?
Upstairs.
Upstairs where?
In his bedroom.
Whose bedroom?
Michael's bedroom.
And how many times have you seen that movie?
3 times.
And where did you see it the other 2 times?
In his bedroom.
Did Mr. Jackson ever say anything to you about that movie?
There was one time, Frank was walking up, and there was a girl on the movie, or a movie, and he just kept on saying, clitoris.
Who did?
Michael.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Do you know what it means now?
No.
Do you know what it meant then?
No.
Now, was there, after you got back from Calabasas, okay.
Okay.
Was there ever an occasion where anything else unusual happened between you and your brother and the defendant, Michael Jackson?
Do you mean after staying at Cal? What was it? What was the question?
Yeah. Anything else unusual that you saw about the defendant, Michael Jackson?
No.
Pardon?
I don't know.
Do you ever recall an occasion where he walked into the room and you and your brother were on a bed?
Oh.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Just, do you recall that occasion, when you were sitting on the bed, and he walked into the room?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you saw.
Me and my brother were watching a movie, and Michael walked up naked. And he walked to the corner of the room, picked up something. Me and my brother were grossed out. And he sat on the bed and he told us it was natural, and then he walked back downstairs.
Did either you or your brother say anything to him? Let me break it up, because I don't want to get a compound problem here. Did you say anything to him when he walked in?
I was just grossed out.
No, but did you say anything to him?
No.
Did brother say anything to him in your presence?
No.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
The answer was
no.
How long was it that Mr. Jackson was in the room with you and your brother naked?
Probably about 2 minutes.
Did you see anything else about Mr. Jackson at that time?
No.
When you say he was naked, what was he wearing, if anything?
Nothing.
Totally naked?
Yes.
So you could see his private parts?
Yes.
Did you see anything about his private parts, one way or the other?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
What?
I asked you if you saw his private parts.
Yes.
Anything unusual about his private parts?
Oh, he had a hard-on.
That's what you call it?
Well, that's what Dr. Katz called it, so.
What do you call it?
Erection.
Either way, that's what you saw.
Yes.
All right. I think we can get this in before the break, Your Honor, or at least part of it. I'm going to show you a series of photographs and ask you.
Okay.
Ask you to see if you can identify these photographs. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you questions about each one of these. All right.
Okay.
But I'm just going to ask you questions to lay the foundation that they're accurate, and then we'll discuss what they are later. All right.
All right.
So, make sure you don't tell us what's in the photograph until I've properly authenticated it. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Star. Let's start with the photograph that's marked as People's 91 for identification purposes. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
Are the items that are depicted in that photograph an accurate depiction as you know them to be?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you turn that one over? And we're going to have to do this through all of them, okay? The next one's 93, I believe.
Yes.
With regard to 93, is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And the next one is 92, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that the right number?
Yes.
All right. And is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
All right. And the next one is 90, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And the next one is what number? 69.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And 55, is that the next one?
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction?
Yes.
And what is the number on the next one?
58.
And 58, is that an accurate depiction?
Yes.
Of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
All right. And the next one is 158.
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And the next one is 165.
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And 71.
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction?
Yes.
All right. 72.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction?
Yes.
All right. Turn that one over. And 74, is that the next one?
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
All right. Turn that over. Now, the next two should be 75. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's already in evidence. So just turn that over for right now. And is the next one 76? Correct.
Yes.
And that's already in evidence, so why don't you turn that one over? And the next one is 78.
77.
77. I'm sorry. I was just checking. Do you recognize that area?
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
All right. And 78.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And 79.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And the next one, I believe, is 94, correct?
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And the next one is 97.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area?
Yes.
And then 95.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area as you know it to be?
Yes.
And 96.
Yes.
Is that an accurate depiction of the area?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. That's the last one, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I was going to propose that we show those photographs to the jury, but I believe it's close to the break time.
A few more minutes.
Do you want me to turn out the lights and get started? Alright, fine. I move that all those be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
Alright, we're now looking at the exhibit marked. What? Do you have 91 in front of you?
Yes.
Alright, tell us what 91 is.
It's Michael's downstairs bedroom.
Now, do you see anything in that photograph that is different than it was when you were there?
That photo wasn't there.
The photo against the far wall.
Yes.
Of the child.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, let's move to, did we establish where this was, 91, in the house?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's Michael's downstairs.
Downstairs to what?
Bedroom.
Now, let's move over to 93. Is that 93 that you have in front of you?
Yes.
Alright, 93, do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
That's the downstairs bedroom. Downstairs.
Is there anything in this part of the photograph that was different from when you were there?
No.
Alright, let's move to 92. Alright, do you have 92 in front of you?
Yes.
Is that the same one that's on the screen?
Yes.
Alright, is there anything in this photograph that's different from the time when you were there?
Or, wait a minute. That isn't right. 92.
Show me what 92 is.
That one's 90.
Alright, let's go back one, then. The next one. Let me have that for just a second. Star. Off the record discussion held at council table. It's not in there. Okay. Alright. 92. I guess we didn't get it into the PowerPoint. So just do that on your own. Describe to us what 92 is.
It's the downstairs of Michael's bedroom.
Okay. Anything about that photograph, 92, that's different from when you were there. That's a different photograph. Just tell us.
Right next to the TV there used to be, like, a jukebox thing.
And it's not there now in that photograph.
No.
All right, let's take our break.